calculating that as I saw it.
Tuck using her size to get inside. Hillman comes and help. Here's Lexie Hall, who does what Lexie Hall has been doing here out of the Olympic break. A team that is certainly better than their record as Mitchell comes up with the steal. Howard is back. It's 1-on-1. Mitchell's going to pull a three. How's that for confidence?
One unforgettable night. What happens when Caitlin Clark, a generational superstar, inspires Lexie Hall, Kelsey Mitchell and Aliyah Boston to reach new heights? The Indiana Fever didn't just play a game, they gave us a glimpse into basketball's future, a future that had everyone talking. This is the story of how the Fever Fab Four came to life and the historic game that changed everything.
But the resilience, how much has that built up even in the last month about this team?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest ways we've improved over the course of the year, especially since probably a little bit before the Olympic break, and then definitely here in the second half. So I'm proud of our group.
September 8th, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The arena buzzes with electricity as 17,000 fans pour in, their excitement palpable. The Fever are coming off a grueling loss to the Minnesota Lynx, a setback after an incredible post-Olympic break run. But tonight feels different. It's not just another matchup. This is the moment when four unique talents will come together and ignite something truly special.
Behind the back, trying to create off the Boston screen. Back to Boston. Boston turns the corner, gets to the rim and ties the game.
Caitlin Clark, the once-in-a-generation phenom with an uncanny ability to elevate her team. Lexie Hall, a defensive ace rediscovering her three-point rhythm. Kelsey Mitchell, the veteran guard chasing greatness after years of team struggle. Aliyah Boston, a rising force in the paint. Four players on distinct journeys converging in one electrifying, unforgettable game. What made this night extraordinary? How did these four stars transform into an unstoppable force? This is the story of teamwork, resilience, and a vision of basketball's future. Are you ready? Let's relive the unforgettable night that forged the Fever. Fab Four.
We were just sick that we had lost so many games, and also feeling like we were better than that.
Rewind to early 2024. The Indiana Fever were in disarray. 1 win, 8 losses, and a season spiraling toward irrelevance. Fast forward to September, and they were the talk of the basketball world. What happened behind the scenes to turn this team from bottom dwellers into playoff contenders? The Fever's journey from a struggling squad to the hottest ticket in the WNBA is a story of grit, growth, and the magic of chemistry. At the start of the season, the Fever looked like a team loaded with potential, but lacking direction. Game after game, they stumbled, searching for an identity that seemed just out of reach. The turning point wouldn't come overnight, but it began with the individual journeys of 4 remarkable players. The Fab Four.
Lexie Hall has to fire, and why not? Come on!
Lexie Hall entered the WNBA with sky-high expectations after a stellar college career at Stanford. But her early struggles were glaring. Her shots weren't falling, and her confidence wavered. But Lexie wasn't one to back down. She hit the gym fine, tuned her mechanics, and put in countless hours until it all clicked.
At the beginning of the season, my playing time definitely looked different than it did at the end. So trusting that, I was staying ready, putting in the work so that when I did get the minutes out on the court, that I could take full advantage of them. So I was just really proud of myself for trusting the process and staying the court.
That breakthrough came on August 18th against the Seattle Storm. Hall was unstoppable, lighting up the scoreboard with one clutch shot after another. It wasn't just a great game. It was a statement. Lexie Hall had arrived, and her icy determination would become a cornerstone of the Fever's resurgence.
Aliyah is probably one of the hardest working players that I've ever been around. She is, everything about her wants to be better, wants to be great, and she does not take any of that for granted. I mean, she works at her craft, and when you do that, a lot of times basketball will repay you, and this is one of the ways.
Aliyah Boston, the first overall pick in the 2023 draft, carried immense expectations on her shoulders, joining a team that had won just 5 games the previous season. Boston faced pressure from the moment she stepped onto the court. Every missed opportunity felt magnified, every rebound scrutinized. But beneath the weight of those expectations, Boston's talent shone through.
Caitlin knows where Aliyah Boston's going to be. Aliyah Boston knows where Caitlin's going to be.
As the season unfolded, the flashes of brilliance turned into consistent dominance. Her smooth post moves and commanding defensive presence began to turn heads. By September, Boston wasn't just holding her own. She was owning the paint and proving why she was the foundation for the Fever's future. For 7 years, Kelsey Mitchell had been the heartbeat of the Fever, enduring season after season of rebuilding. Many players would have grown weary, but not Mitchell. Her resolve only strengthened. She played with a fire and determination that inspired her teammates, even when the odds seemed stacked against them.
Kelsey Mitchell is, she's special, she's unique, she's one of the fastest players on the court all the time. You get her in any type of actions where it's her speed that's going to get her open, you can scheme for it, she's gonna be able to get a touch.
Mitchell's patience and resilience would finally pay off in ways she couldn't have imagined, especially after the arrival of one player who would change everything. Enter Caitlin Clark, a once-in-a-generation talent with a court presence that could light up an arena from the moment she donned a Fever jersey. Something shifted. It wasn't just her breathtaking passes, or her deep three-pointers that made the difference. It was the spark she ignited in everyone around her. Clark's humble swagger and infectious energy breathed new life into the Fever.
Caitlin and Aliyah have almost a poetic pick and roll action going all the time. Caitlin can already find her teammates, but just the fluidity between her and Aliyah, it's like they're on a different wavelength now.
She wasn't just playing her own game. She was elevating her teammates to new heights. With Clark running the offense, players like Mitchell and Hall found themselves in perfect scoring positions, while Boston thrived on pick-and-roll plays that left defenders helpless. Clark wasn't just a player. She was the glue holding everything together.
She sees the game at a bigger scale, obviously with the platform that she's created for herself, and then that's transitioned to the game. It's huge. And I think, like, for me, especially as a point guard and as someone that's delivering a lot of the passes that lead to shots, like, if I miss, she's definitely going to say, like, you got the next one. Like, I can count on her for keeping me, like, confident and positive. So yeah, I think that shows the player that she is and the leader she is as a point guard.
As the season wore on, it became clear that something special was brewing, and Indiana Hall's confidence grew with every shot she drained from beyond the arc. Boston began to dominate with a mix of physicality and finesse. Mitchell rediscovered her love for the game, thriving in her role alongside Clark and Clark herself. She was the flame that kept the fire burning. But it wasn't just about the individual pieces. The Fever began to look less like a roster of talent and more like a cohesive unit. The struggles of early 2024 weren't forgotten. They became fuel for the transformation that was about to change everything. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action.
Look at this. These are the top 3 scorers in the WNBA since the women brought home gold in the Olympics a few weeks ago. 2 of the members are of the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell.
The struggles of early 2024 had forged a team hungry for change. But no one could have predicted the seismic shift about to sweep through the WNBA. What if I told you that a mid-season break, a pause, often seen as routine, would ignite one of the most remarkable turnarounds in basketball history? The Fever had shown flashes of brilliance throughout the season, but consistency remained just out of reach. They had the talent, but the spark needed to unite. It hadn't yet ignited. Little did anyone know that this break in the actions would become the launch pad for an extraordinary transformation during the mid-season Olympic pause. Something magical happened. The Fever didn't just take time off. They came together away from the relentless grind of game day. The players bonded in ways that went beyond basketball. They shared meals, dreams, and a collective hunger to rewrite their story. The seeds of trust and chemistry that had been planted early in the season began to blossom.
I think one thing that our coaches did during that break, I mean, we had a full month of practice pretty much during the Olympic break, and they would put up every day after practice our shooting percentages from 2s and 3s during drills, during scrimmages, during everything. And I think that helped me because, some people were probably like, it's so annoying, whatever, but I personally liked it.
When the league resumed, the Fever were unrecognizable. They stepped onto the court with a renewed sense of purpose and unity. Lexie Hall, who had struggled with inconsistency earlier in the year, emerged as one of the league's deadliest three-point shooters. Her transformation was breathtaking. Her accuracy from beyond the arc soared to an astounding 70%, leaving defenders scrambling and fans in on by the season's end. Hall had claimed the title of the NBA's most accurate three-point shooter.
Lexie Hall has unlocked that for Indiana. On cue!
But Hall wasn't the only player turning heads. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell had evolved into one of the league's most dynamic backcourt duos, combining for an almost unbelievable 50 points per game after the break.
Mitchell shot out of a cannon and through.
She knows how to lay it out on a dime. Her court vision is impeccable, and now her teammates are ready to catch the ball. They trust she's going to get it where it needs to be. But y'all, the favorite part of my game from Caitlin Clark is this behind the back pass. Come on now.
Come on.
I love it. I love it. And that wasn't just one time. She does that on a frequent and drops it right there. Perfect to Aliyah Boston.
So let me just sprinkle in, because you mentioned AB. 2 of those highlights, I believe, were a Clark-Boston connection. Those 2 have been the second best scoring duo in the league behind A'ja Wilson.